In this week's episode, the fellas debate what's going on as the U.S. becomes more deeply involved in the Middle East conflict, describing it as war of choice tied to Israel and marked by shifting officials' explanations. Again, they warn that democracy requires participation and claim U.S. non-participation has enabled fascism, leaving few checks on presidential power as Republicans in courts fail to restrain Trump. They discuss naval attacks, drone strikes, evacuations and embassy closures, rising economic costs, global isolation, risk of wider escalation involving China or North Korea, potential terrorism or nuclear use, and fears that war could be used to disrupt midterms.
What's going on, Keith?
Hey, what's up, TC? How you doing? What's going on, Mike?
Hey, Mr. Corley, Mr. Pickens, things fall apart. The sale of pills at an all-time high. Young folks walking around with their heads in the sky. Evolution, revolution, gun control, the sound of soul, shooting rockets to the moon, kids growing up too soon. Fear in the air, tension everywhere, eve of destruction, tax deduction. And the band plays on. That's what's going on.
Well,
That is what is going on.
Well, all right.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if our theme of "What's Going On" by Marvin Gaye would appreciate you doing that.
Well, hey.
But the band plays on. Wait, there was another one here. People all over the world are shouting, "In the war!" Right? And the band played on.
The band played on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
In the war, and band played on.
Help me out here, Mike Miller. What is going on? What are we doing? What are we doing as a country?
Well, you got to know your history. This goes back to the Shah of Iran.
Yes.
That's where this started. When the U.S. installed the Shah of Iran.
That was like 79.
Yes, around there. Previous to him, there was an elected president of Iran, and the people liked him. You know, everything was good, but he wasn't in cahoots with BP. BP wanted that oil, was drilling for that oil, and he wanted to audit to make sure that the people of Iran were getting their fair share. You know, what they were supposed to get. BP said no. He said, okay, we're going to continue to press on this. And that's when the U.S. came in, got him out, put him in jail, and he died in jail. Installed the Shah of Iran. And for 26 years, the Shah of Iran brutalized the people. The Shah was installed by the United States government. For 26 years, the person that the United States government installed brutalized the people of Iran. Until the Ayatollah came in and said, no more of this. And that's when that overthrow happened, when, our people were taken hostage.
Well, that was in the 70s.
That was in the 70s,
that what you were talking
when
about.
I was
prior
talking
to
about,
that.
prior to that, correct.
Decades
that was
decades
in the 70s,
before.
right.
Yeah.
That's when the Ayatollah came in. Yeah, those people are mad at us. Yeah.
Well, that whole region is mad at us.
Would you not be mad if China came in here and installed some piece of crap who brutalized you and your people and just raped your country for 26 years? What would you do? How would you feel? America. Wow. But that's what happened to them. No, our physical bodies didn't do that. Our physical bodies did not do that. But those people don't see that. They see a country that brutalized them. And I fully understand their anger. So these lies about why we went in there, we heard this under George Bush. The same thing, weapons of mass destruction. Oh, they're going to do this. They're going to do that. Wham, wham, wham.
Mike, you got to go back further than that. Vietnam.
True.
The lies
That's
from the
true.
federal government at that at that level.
True.
Yeah.
At that level, true. I'm just keeping it within the context of Iran. You know,
Middle East.
That's all.
Middle East.
Middle East, right. So what's going on now? What we're looking at is the result of not participating or not maintaining democracy. This is what happens when people don't vote. This is what happens when people don't participate in democracy. I've said this many times before. Democracy requires maintenance. Maintenance means participation. Participation means voting and a lot of other things.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what happens when people just say, I'm checking out.
So when you say people, Mike, who are you referencing? The people of Iran? Or
No.
People of the United
America,
States.
The United States, right.
Mm-hmm.
This is what happens when fascism permeates your government.
Okay.
Infest your government. This is why democracy requires participation and maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're at a point where, participation is going to be required. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you what kind of participation, but it won't be pretty because nation building never has been and never will be pretty. It's always bloody and brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Nation building is bloody and brutal. It's no if. For the first time since World War II, our Navy used a torpedo and sunk a ship. And Hegseth today said we just sent him to the bottom of the sea, to the bottom of the Gulf. He was very savage. That was the most savage press conference I've seen. It was more savage than the one yesterday. Mm-hmm. And it seems like more countries keep getting involved. What happens when North Korea says, okay, we're going to shoot off what we want to shoot? What happens when China says, I've had enough of all y'all? You think your Navy is the most mighty? You got another thing coming.
Well,
we've cut off the oil to China.
I was going to say
when it's Strait of Hormuz, right?
I was going to say that 20% of the world's export of oil is coming from that region.
Right.
And in China, usage is 40 to 70% of that is exported.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
They're not going to tolerate that.
No. If the U.S. can't maintain, they'll send some people in to maintain. Mm-hmm. They'll show you how it's done. So now you got all these countries you're going to have warships everywhere, just bombs shooting everywhere. Hegseth said, we got so many planes in the sky, we just going to bomb you all day, every day. He was real savage.
Well, we might have the planes, but we don't have the bombs.
Right. Oh, no, that's what
Tomahawks.
That meeting.
Yeah, we don't have.
Yes.
That's limited supply.
That meeting is either later today or tomorrow. Okay. They are going to ramp up production of all of that.
Oh, so we're going to turn into what we were in the 40s, mass production.
Act.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
the Wartime Act. Mass production of bombs. Bomb them. Mm-hmm. Just bomb them savagely. We don't care who we hit. We using transport planes to get all U.S. nationals out and told everybody to leave. We shut down the embassies. You can't even get a commercial airliner out. The U.S. got to get you out if you're U.S. national. The U.K. said they're already getting their people out.
Right.
And France has said they're going to release every prisoner they have from the Middle East and send them back. They just don't want nobody messing with them. France just said, forget it. You can have all your people back.
Spain doesn't sound like it wants to participate either.
Right.
No,
right.
Not at all.
No.
Yeah.
This
at
is a war of choice. Right. This is a war of choice.
Mm-hmm. War of choice.
The story kept flip-flopping. Mm-hmm. And anytime that happens, you know it's a lie. From the first reason to the last, it's all a lie. Anytime somebody's story keeps flip-flopping on something this important, it's a lie from jump.
Mike,
That's
Netanyahu has said he's been wanting to do this same thing for 40 years.
Correct.
Imagine how many administrations we've gone through, right?
Right.
And one of the newscasters said he kept going until he finally found somebody that was stupid enough, i.e., the fascist in chief, to go along with it. It was alleged that Israel was going to take action anyway. They were going to strike. And as a consequence, we decided that we would just by nature of Israel being pulled into it, we would be pulled into it, and that we decided we would take action. But to your point, there's been goings back and forth. Tom's guy, the Secretary of State, said in one side of his mouth that we were going to have to do it, and it had nothing to do with Israel one day. And then he came back and said, no, reverse that. He said, we moved because Israel moved. And then Trump came on TV and said, no, we were going to do it anyway. And so the next day on TV, what's your guy name, Secretary of State?
Marco Rubio.
Rubio,
yeah. That's how he sounded. Okay.
At this point, I just want to forget all their names. But you're right. That's exactly how he sounded. He flip-flops, and they are flip-flopping. And so they're trying to rationalize this war of choice. And it's just taking us in deeper and deeper. And they're coming across like college-age kids who, beating their chests, because they want to say we're the biggest and the baddest and we can destroy them at a whim. And it's really against, I think, what the American people want. And it just goes back to, why are we taking action because of Israel? Okay, why aren't we doing things of our own accord? Why aren't we presenting this to Congress and the American people to decide if it's something that we even want to be a part of? And so it's just Trump again, acting out as a fascist, without any regard to the Constitution, without any regard to our government and how we typically go about deciding whether or not we want to be involved in a war. It's just, you said to Mike, was he fearful? I believe. And I thought about it. I'm concerned, but I hesitate to say I'm overly concerned because I still have some positive feelings about the potential of the midterm. Now, if the midterms work out against the Democrats, then I'm going to start to have some concerns, okay? I mean, I was surprised that the Supreme Court had the audacity to, and this is going back to a prior conversation, to go against the tariffs and that going against Trump because they've essentially allowed him to do whatever he wants. This vote on the war powers.
Right.
Apparently it's just going to be an exercise in futility because they won't have enough support to carry it through. And so with that, they essentially give Trump the continued right to do whatever he sees fit and as he pleases. So there's a lot that's going on in 1 year that is totally unfathomable. And the fact that we're now involved in a war, the playbook is playing itself out. Okay. And there's no talk of the Epstein files, right? There's no talk. There's no talk or concern about the economy because you can be assured gas prices are already starting to elevate. Okay. Food prices are going to go up. Goods are going to go up because commerce is going to be tough for commerce to get to its destinations because of, the activity in the Middle East. And so all of the promises that he made, and it's really funny to me that people don't pay attention or just don't care. But, a year and a half ago, when he was campaigning, he talked about never going into war and bringing prices down.
Correct.
Making the Epstein files available because there's nothing to hide. But he's definitely turned the page on any of those promises because that's all they were. They were just promises.
You lie.
100%. And so to me, that's the shame of it, that people continue to embrace this idiot and anything he says and anything that he wants to do, knowing, again, I said it once, I've said it twice, I've said it 1,000 times. These people know what's going on, but the emperor doesn't care because even though his fat ass is out there bare naked, he thinks he's fully dressed and everybody's telling him how good he looks in that new suit. But he doesn't have on a suit. He's just somebody with a huge ego. He's a narcissist, and he literally wants to do and will do at this point unless he stops whatever he wants to do. And he said it. The only thing that's stopping him is his morality. And everybody who pays attention knows there is no morality when it comes to him.
Right.
So how can he be stopped if nobody is willing to stop him when all the MAGA people and all of the Republicans are going along with whatever he does?
Speaking on that very same point, Keith, you said that the Republicans, how come they just didn't go through the process of letting Congress vote on this, even though they knew they had the votes in the bag? I mean, that's part of the Constitution. It wouldn't be a big deal for a lot of people if Congress would have voted and authorized this war.
They're sitting on their hands, Tom. They're sitting on their hands.
Yeah, they are sitting on their hands, but why didn't he go through the process, knowing he could have got it through anyway?
And he's saying, why bother with the process?
Right. Because
Right,
the problem is,
I'm the king. My word is law.
So that's an ego thing.
Right.
it's an ego thing. When the Supreme Court said you can't do tariffs, he said there's a way that I can do tariffs, and I don't need the court or Congress for anything. And so it's bearing itself out because they have not been willing to stop. I mean, there are ways to stop this madness, but when you've got all of these Republicans who are complicit, and they're the majority, everything is tilted. So at this point, there's really not a lot that can be done. When you go into the legislature and you talk about the War Powers Act, and that's something that could slow him down or stop him or hold him to account, but you don't have the support of your peers on the other side of the aisle, then your hands are tied. The Democrats can talk about it and make proposals about doing different things, but if they're not going to get the support of the Republicans, then essentially they've conceded and said to Trump, whatever you do, we're going to support. And it doesn't matter what it is. Six troops have lost their lives.
Right.
And Trump, because he's not a passionate man, he came out and said, basically, that's just the way it is. And war lives will be lost. But his son, Barron, or whatever his name is, he'll never see war, or none of his kids. And so, it's sad, man.
It's
sad.
It's very sad.
It's sad how harsh and cruel not only Trump is, but everybody who chooses to follow him go along with this crap that he's putting us to right now as a country.
It was something to see that the Secretary of War didn't even acknowledge those 6 people you were talking about. I guess at the time it wasn't 6; it was probably still 4. And 5 injured. But the fact that the general, before he started, he ran off their names.
They have no compassion, Tom. Zero. Yeah. And do me a favor for the sake of this podcast. Don't call that fool the Secretary of War, because there's no such title.
I'm trying not to say his name.
He's the Secretary of Defense.
Yeah.
Defense. Right. Right.
And I'm offended by him.
Right. And I want to go to the Gulf of Mexico next week. I don't care what nobody said.
Right. Definitely. Definitely.
I don't know what to say. I am baffled and dumbfounded on the whole thing that took place, and then how, now we are trying to save civilians in the midst of all of this. I don't know how did Iran shoot off those drones or get those drones in the air to cross those countries, cross into the UAE, into Kuwait, into Bahrain. All those places got bombed because we were sitting on our hands or something? I don't get it.
And they just said that it's more difficult to track or to trace those.
Yeah, they're small and light, and they put out a bunch of them at a time. So you might get 1 or 2 or 3, but some are going to get through.
Some are going to get through.
Right. And it's like they said, hitting a missile with a missile. So it's that kind of science. But no, if you put out so many of them, some are going to get through.
You would expect us to have some kind of net. If we're going to try to protect our own shores, that sounds like that's not going to happen. There are going to be some cities in the United States that are going to be gone.
I'm sure.
Or get damaged or whatever.
Can be, yeah. In the big one, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly.
But what I'm more thinking about here is somebody over there has a nuke.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know who. I don't know who, but they're going to set it off. Somebody over there has a nuke, and they're going to use it. I don't know if it's Iran, Iraq, Syria, Hezbollah, ISIS. You know, I don't know. I don't know. It's so many countries. I don't know, but somebody's gonna set one off. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Well,
It's gonna happen, and they are really fearful of that.
No,
But you don't know who's gonna do it.
Yeah. So not only did they kill leadership in Iran, but they also killed a religious leader and an Ayatollah.
Right.
So the thing is that, that in itself for the Muslim world speaks volumes to what the United States and how the United States feels about
Absolutely.
Muslims.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is why something's gonna happen. They're not gonna just sit back. Nope. Something's right now. They said, okay, all right, okay. They'll have a response at their choosing, at the time they choose. Everything it doesn't have to be an immediate. Oh, we gotta do this too. No.
They're gonna plot it out like 9/11.
They'll do what they do when they do it.
Well, their mindset is totally different. They've employed in the past suicide missions, and in terms of how Americans view things in life and how we value life is different. They certainly will engage human sacrifice, and on a smaller level, when you have people come and have planes directed at our buildings, that's one level. But when you start talking about trying to shoot off bombs or missiles or what have you, depending on how far, apparently they're saying that they don't have anything that could reach, America.
No.
But we only know what we know, Mike, right? And so
Right.
if there's an opportunity, if there's a way, if there's a ploy, a plan that they have intact, we don't know until it happens, right?
Right.
It could be suicide cells.
Could be, right, yeah, could be.
Go to Costco and bam, whoa.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we're coming off with this whole from the top macho brand of warfare. Nothing is plotted, nothing is planned. We're doing everything based on the strength. Steph and Trump are bragging about how tough we are and how much we have and what devastation we can cause, without any regards for what other countries have and what they can do. What was really sad about it, I was watching something on the news, and the people that are caught in these different countries, particularly the ones that are in the path, they had no plan. They had no plan. And so those people are literally stuck there, where before, at least when they decided they were going to engage, they had a plan. They had a plan to get people out. And this is because specifically they knew going in what they were going to do. In this case, it's just all machismo. It's just we're doing it because we can do it, and we dare anybody to stop us. And so with that, to Trump's point, he's beating his chest and saying, you know what, if lives are lost, it's just the way it is. And if I had a child or children or any loved one in the military, and that was his attitude, I mean, I'm already pissed about the fact that he's taken our country through this. But the reckless disregard for the lives is what, it really tells on who he is as a person and his lack of morality.
Right.
It's,
Are there conversations about us being further isolated from the rest of the world?
Absolutely.
I mean,
everybody's telling us, like, you can't launch your planes from over here. You know what I mean? No, we're not going to help you.
We stepped on too many toes.
Right.
Yeah, we definitely are isolated, and we're lockstep with Israel, right? Because they rely on us, our might, but everybody else is basically saying, you know what? At the end of the day, you made your bed hard, and you're going to have to lie in it. Because I don't see anybody gung-ho running to support us. Like Mike said, it's like, hey, your planes can't take off from here. Or, like I said, Spain basically said, no, we're not actively engaging. Right. So you have to make your own way. When he was in office before, trying to get us out of NATO and the different things that he did to isolate this country, it's just so different than what we're used to. And it's a threat to not only the world order, but any semblance of peace that we had. For a long time, particularly after the fall of Russia, there was a semblance of peace. It wasn't, that Cold War feeling was gone for a long time because you just didn't have this going back and forth between superpowers per se.
Right.
You know, China kind of laid in the cut, and they build up their army and their arsenal, and but Russia at one point, it was all about Russia and the United States, and for so long, like I said, after the fall of Russia, I mean, personally, even I felt a sense of peace because I was much younger then, obviously, and I always felt that, you know what, at some point, maybe I, as an individual, will have to go to war when I was a younger man.
Yeah.
But for so long, we didn't even have to worry about our kids getting drafted, right?
Right.
And we don't know that the draft won't return, particularly if this is something that ends up being a long-term war. And they have no objective. They had no plan. And so we could get back to the point where we just don't have enough people volunteering. And so now we have to start forcing people by draft to participate in the military.
You know,
So
'cause
he's
they
opening
kick
up
that around.
he's opening up a lot of can of worms, beating his chest, being macho under the guise of Christianity. That's the other part. Under the guise of Christianity.
Christian nationalism.
Yeah. Yeah.
Christian nationalism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where have we heard that before? That nationalism thing. Okay. All right. That's what y'all want to do.
So, Mike, as Bernie Sanders was talking about the fact that how we gave billions of dollars to Israel for Gaza, and now here we are with Israel. Is it a dog wagging the tail?
Correct. Wag the dog. Wag the dog.
Wag the dog.
Or
Yeah.
the tail wagging the dog.
Yeah, the tail
Right.
wagging the dog. I said that
Right.
wrong. Yeah, but that,
Right.
yeah.
Yep, that's what's going on. That's what's going on now. The way I see it, he's easily influenced, by Israel. And
You've got two war criminals in bed together.
right.
Yeah.
Enough is
Netanyahu
enough.
and Trump. They are war criminals.
BD is playing them like a Stradivarius, just like Putin did, playing them like a Stradivarius. He gets played all the time. This time he said, okay, well, you playing, then you play. Well, I can beat you, so I'm gonna send my army over there to you. This is one way to not have any midterms. Oh, we're still at war. No
Yeah.
midterms.
That's lining them all up. That's lining them up. Yeah.
Line them up. Don't let something happen. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
We can't vote. Oh, no, I got to
yeah.
control this.
Well, that's the path it look like we're headed down.
Yep. I've read this script already. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Have a good week. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. See you later.
That's all the time we have this week. Be sure to hit the follow button to receive notifications when we upload a new episode. To learn more about today's topics, go to the show description. You can also text us. Join us every week by becoming a follower on iHeartRadio, YouTube, or your favorite streaming service. If you enjoy our podcast, become a supporter. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with the What's Going On podcast.